Namaste to all. Here I am with a video relating to capital gain exemptions under section 54 to 54F, and it is a revision video. I repeat, it is a revision video. So which are important exemptions, those only will be discussed. 54G, GA is also there, GBA is also there, but those are not important from the exam point of view, but we have discuss those in the regular class in the college. Once you go through the notes you will get it. And one more important thing I am going to tell you all that uh, uh, this video related notes you can find in the description link below the video, and all other information relating to income tax 2, all that notes and previous video details, all those will be there. So don't forget to see the description link. And some of the students are asking me, sir, when we will be having 4th semester exams? So for them, through the sources which I believe and which I know, from them I have got the information that you will be having exams in the month of January itself. So there is very less time, so start preparing, because it is you have been having the classes of the 5th sem. So second sem regular exams and 4th sem regular exams will be conducted by the Osmania University if everything is good regarding the COVID situation. So definitely you will be having the exams because it is already too late. So in the month of January you will be having the exams. So keeping in that mind, I am making this video to you all. Already I have prepared some videos relating to capital gain provisions, and in the previous backlog paper there was a theory question relating to the exemptions. You may be also get similar type of question or relating to any one of the exemptions or a problem you may get. So let us don't waste the any more time. Hope your doubts have been clarified, and start preparing for the exams. And before that, one small topic is there. I have already explained this one. For your understanding purpose, I am going to tell this again. That is advance money forfeited. Okay, advance money forfeited by the assessee, not by the previous owner, only by the assessee. Okay, advance money forfeited by the assessee and its treatment. If advance money is forfeited on or after 1/4/2014, that advance money will be treated as income from other source. Okay, it is treated as income from other source as per section 56 to 10. Do you know what is section 56 to 10? Sorry, 29. That is same one. Sorry, 10. This is 9. 56 to 10. To 10 is relating to gift, and this is advance money, because this is advance money. It is not relating to salary, it is not relating to house property, it is not relating to business, and it is not relating to capital gain. So this advance money whatever is received after 1/4/2014 will be treated as income from other sources. And treatment, this is very important point. Treatment, tax liability is attracted in the year of forfeiture of advance. In the year in which it is forfeited, in that year it will be taxed. सर थोड़ा फिर से समझाओ, मैं और एक बार बता देता हूँ. एडवांस मनी forfeited after 1/4/2014 will be treated as income from other sources. If you won't remember 56(2) subsection clause 9, no problem, but it comes under income from other sources and taxable in the year in which it is forfeited. Suppose there is a building, consider it as a building ma, okay. So this house property is in the name of Mr. Ram. So Mr. Ram want to sell it to Mr. X, okay. He want to sell it to whom? Mr. X. So Ram want to sell it to X in the year 2016, okay. In the year 2016, this is December month, so consider December 25th, okay. But couldn't sell the house. They agreed that this building will be sold to Mr. X for 20 lakhs. So in advance Ram has received 2 lakh rupees, okay, 2 lakh rupees on 31st December. When? 31st December 2016 he has received. So what is the previous year for 31st December 2016? Your previous year will be 2016-17. This will be your previous year, and for this assessment year will be 2017-18, okay. He has received 2 lakhs, but later on Mr. X said, I don't want to buy the house. I don't want to buy the house, okay. He said in the 14th January 2017, in the new year, okay. 14th January, 14th January, you know, Sankranti festival. So Mr. Ram asked, what about the purchase of my building? You gave 2 lakh rupees advance also. Then Mr. X, my guru, he said, don't buy the house with the facing north side, facing house. So I don't want to buy this house, he said to Ram. So Ram said, Arey, what you are saying, man? You said you will buy for 20 lakhs. I missed another opportunity to sell it at for 25 lakhs to Mr. Y. मैं वाई को सेल कर देता था, तुमने बोला इसलिए मैंने चुप रहा तुम्हारा को सेल करने के लिए. अब तुम बोल रहे नहीं नहीं लेना है. तो एक्स ने बोला, सॉरी बॉस, आई कांट डू एनीथिंग. आई स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलो the sentiments of my wife, otherwise she will not allow me into the house itself. You are saying about purchasing the house, I can't buy it, he said Mr. X. So what Ram did, Ram returned 1 lakh rupees. How much he has returned? Out of 2 lakhs, 1 lakh. Remaining 1 lakh, X asked Mr. Ram, राम ये क्या कर रहे तुम? 1 लाख रुपए ही दिए, बाकी 1 लाख कब दिए तुम? बोल रहे हो 2 लाख दिया था ना मैं. नहीं नहीं, मेरे पास इतना ही है, मैं इतना ही रिटर्न करता हूँ, नहीं तो ये भी नहीं देता हूँ वापस, बोल के बोल दिए. सो हाउ मच मिस्टर राम हैज forfeited out of 2 lakhs advance? He has forfeited on 14th January 2017. This comes under previous year 2016-17, assessment year 17-18. So it is taxable or it is tax liability attracts in the year of forfeiture of advance means that itself. When it attracts in the year of forfeiture. Okay. So in the year of forfeiture, that is on 14th January 2017 he has forfeited. So for that assessment year is 17-18. In that year it will be taxable under the head income from other sources. किसमें? IFOS में इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्स. ओके, टिल ईयर कहानी आपको सब समझ में आ गया ना? तो आगे बढ़ेंगे थोड़ा. लेटर ऑन राम हैज सोल्ड दिस प्रॉपर्टी टू वाई. टू होम? वाई. in the previous year 2018-19 for 30 lakhs. ओके, 30 lakhs को वाई ने क्या करे? प्रॉपर्टी हैज बीन सोल्ड टू होम? प्रॉपर्टी हैज बीन सोल्ड टू वाई बाय राम in the year, in the previous year 18-19 assessment year, 19-20 assessment year, that is your assessment year. Advance money was forfeited in the year 2017, that is different assessment year. If same advance money is forfeited on January, say suppose this is not 2016, let us say it is 2018, and in the 2019th January he has forfeited. 19th January 14th January 2019 comes under previous year 18-19, and assessment year will be 19-20. So for the assessment year 19-20, there will be capital gain relating to this 30 lakhs, and also income from other sources 1 lakh will come under, income from other source comes under same assessment year 19-20 because it is January 2019. So in the year in which advance money is forfeited, in that year it will be taxable as income from other source, whereas when the year in the previous year which it is entirely house property is sold, in that year capital gain will arise. This is the thing you need to understand relating to advance money forfeited. Okay, I'll tell one more point is there relating to advance money forfeited. If this advance money forfeited is before 1/4/2014, it is when before 1/4/2014, okay, then it will be deducted from the cost of acquisition. Okay, we need to deduct cost of acquisition minus advance money forfeited if it is before 1/4/2014, and after that you will do indexation, and tax liability will be in the actual year of transfer, in the year in which asset is transferred. Suppose advance money is forfeited in 2011, advance money was received in 2011, एक्स को सेल करने के लिए सोचे लेकिन सेल नहीं हुआ, 1 लाख रुपए ले लिए, कब? 2011 में. लेकिन ये हाउस प्रॉपर्टी वाई को उन्होंने सेल कर दिए 2018-19 प्रीवियस ईयर में. that is in the assessment year 2019-20, which you are doing now presently. So while calculating capital gain कैलकुलेट करते वक्त कास्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन में से ओके फ्रॉम कास्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन वी नीड टू डिडक्ट advance money forfeited, then we need to do indexation. That's it. This is the treatment relating to advance money forfeited. Okay, if anyone does not understand, please, this is the video lecture, you can play back from the beginning, you will understand it. And we are having 2-3 questions relating to the advance money forfeited in your notes also. Go through those questions once, then you will understand what I have been discussed just now. Okay, let us see our main thing relating to this video, that is exemptions under section 54 to 54F. This is the important thing. In every question I am saying relating to the capital gain, there will be some information relating to exemption. After getting, do you remember the pro forma of capital gains? First one is full value of consideration, then less transfer expenses, then you will get net consideration. Okay, from net consideration you will deduct cost of acquisition, then cost of improvement. Okay, if you deduct these two, you will get capital gain before exemptions. Okay, then you will deduct exemptions under section 54 to 54F. For short term capital gain, do you remember the song 54B D G G A? We said B D G ले याद है? So 54B, 54D, 54G, GA comes for short term. यहाँ पे कास्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन, कास्ट ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट लिखा मैंने. फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म टिल हियर द सेम full value of consideration less transfer expenses, net consideration. Please adjust with the handwriting because I don't have any digitalizer board. So from full value of consideration, if you deduct transfer expenses, you will get net consideration. From net consideration you will deduct, in case of long term, capital asset. In case of long term, in case of short term, cost of acquisition you will do here indexed cost of acquisition, then indexed cost of improvement. सर ये इंडेक्सेशन कैसे करते, वो प्रीवियस वीडियो में बताया, एक बार जाके देखो, अभी फिर से नहीं बता सकते. ओके, देन यू विल गेट लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन बिफोर exemption. So from this you will deduct exemption under section 54 to 54F. So these exemptions only we are going to discuss now. Okay, after that you will get long term capital gain taxable, here short term capital gain taxable. This is the pro forma. Once go through the pro forma also. ओके, बहुत दिन हुआ ना अपलोड करके पूरा टैक्स, एक बार रिवीजन कर लो, जल्दी से प्रीवियस वीडियोस देख लो, हो जाएगा. ओके ओके, लेट अस say about exemptions under section 54. Please remember one thing, your exemption amount, okay, your exemption amount will not exceed capital gain amount. मतलब क्या है, आपका कैपिटल गेन जो आया, कैपिटल गेन आया 20 लाख। तो एग्जेम्पशन कहाँ तक आ जाएगा? मैक्सिमम 20 लाख तक आ जाएगा, उससे कम रहेगा लेकिन उससे ज़्यादा आपको एग्जेम्पशन नहीं मिलेगा। एग्जेम्पशन विल नॉट एक्सीड गेन, सो इट मे बी 20 lakhs मैक्स। अगर आप एग्जेम्पशन के लिए सपोज under section 54 you have invested 25 lakhs but your capital gain is how much? 20 lakhs, so you will get exemption only 20 lakhs, not 25 lakhs, though you are invested more than that. Okay, it may be any exemption, 54, 54B, 54D, EC, EE, 54F, any exemption, your exemption amount will not exceed capital gain amount. Please keep it in mind. Other provisions, other limits are there, those we will discuss each and every section separately. I'll give some hints also to remember the section also. So चलो start करेंगे। अभी तक already it is 21 minutes, वो एडवांस मनी का थोड़ा ज़्यादा टाइम ले लिया, ठीक है, फिर भी आपको समझ में आना है, दैट इज़ वाई आई एम गोइंग वेरी स्लो, दो इट इज़ ए रिवीजन वीडियो, बिकॉज बहुत दिन हो गए, आप लोग पूरा भूल गए होंगे, फिर से एक बार याद दिलाएंगे बोल के मैं थोड़ा हल्लू हल्लू बता रहा हूँ। इफ़ एनी वन फील्स सर बहुत स्लो बोल रहे, यूट्यूब का वीडियो है तो आप स्पीड इंक्रीज करके सुन लीजिए, जल्दी हो जाएगा। ओके ओके, फर्स्ट वन इज 54 exemption under section, wait a minute, first one is exemption under section 54. First wala exemption under section 54, the exemption says, okay, eligible assessee, who should be the eligible assessee? इंडिविजुअल और HUF, ये इंडिविजुअल HUF के लिए ही एग्जाम्शन में को नहीं, आप तो इंडिविजुअल इनकम टैक्स आपका जो है वो इंडिविजुअल का ही है। असेट्स ट्रांसफर्ड, जो असेट आप ट्रांसफर कर रहे, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इन दिस केस। रेजिडेंशियल हाउस लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल असेट होनी चाहिए। When residential house means immovable property. In case of immovable property, how many years it should be? In case of immovable property, 24 months, more than 24 months long term, less than 24 months short term. So that house property residential purpose के लिए use होना है। You are selling one residential house property. Other conditions, income from such house should be chargeable under the head income from house property. अगर उसके ऊपर कुछ भी इनकम आपको आ रहा, वो इनकम फ्रॉम हाउस प्रॉपर्टी में टैक्स होना चाहिए बोल के बोल रहे, मतलब रेजिडेंशियल पर्पस में ले रहे, अगर आप वो हाउस को रेंट पे दिए तो आपको रेंटल इनकम आ रही है, दैट विल टैक्सेबल अंडर द इनकम फ्रॉम हाउस प्रॉपर्टी। डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड, not by selling, by renting. If any income comes, that will be by selling. If any income comes, that is capital gain itself. That is why we are saying this. So qualifying asset, आप यहाँ पे क्या करना चाहिए, और एक one residential house property situated in India, please remember this one, और एक residential house property आपको परचेज करनी चाहिए। ओके, क्या परचेज करनी चाहिए? एक रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी सेल करके दूसरा रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी इन इंडिया, नॉट आउटसाइड इंडिया। देयर इज वन क्वेश्चन रिलेटिंग टू दिस आल्सो इन द टेक्स्ट बुक। लंदन में खरीदे तो यहाँ पे एग्जाम्पशन दे देगा, नहीं, इंडिया में ही खरीदना। इंडिया में कितने 4 खरीदे, 3 खरीदे, 2 खरीदे तो एग्जाम्पशन मिलेगा क्या? ओनली फॉर वन रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी यू विल गेट। ఒక్కదానికి మాత్రమే ఎగ్జామ్షన్ ఇస్తారు। నువ్వు ఒక ఫ్లాట్ కొన్నావు, ఒకటి ల్యాండ్ కొన్నావు అంటే ఫ్లాటా ల్యాండా రెండిట్లో ఏది ఎక్కువ వాల్యూ ఉంది చూసి ఆ ఒక్కదానికి మాత్రమే ఎగ్జామ్షన్ ఇవ్వాలి. सर तेलुगु में कुछ बोले आपने, हिंदी में बताओ. थोड़े लोग हैं मुझे मालूम है क्लास में ही बोलते हैं, यहाँ पे वीडियो में आप दो खरीदे, एक फ्लैट खरीदे, दूसरा प्लॉट लैंड खरीदे, तो दोनों में से किसको मिलेगा? अगर प्लॉट खरीदे, प्लॉट लैंड वो 25 लाख का है, फ्लैट जो खरीदे वो 30 लाख का है, तो आप देखो दोनों में से कौन सा आपका एग्जेम्पशन ज्यादा है? 30 lakhs that you consider. Okay, for residential purpose you have purchased both from the capital by selling the house whatever amount you have got. In that case which one you will get? Only one, not both. Okay, together मिलेगा क्या? नहीं भाई, एक ही मिलेगा. अच्छा, नेक्स्ट टाइम लिमिट. परचेज के लिए टाइम लिमिट क्या है? परचेज बिफोर 1 year और 2 years आफ्टर द डेट ऑफ ट्रांसफर. आप जिस दिन सेल रहे उससे पहले 1 साल पहले खरीदे तो भी चलेगा, या उसके बाद 2 साल में आपको क्या करना है? अनदर रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी खरीदनी चाहिए. इफ यू आर कंस्ट्रक्टिंग द रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी देन फॉर कंस्ट्रक्शन विद इन 3 years फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ ट्रांसफर. जिस दिन सेल करे उस दिन से लेके 3 साल के अंदर आपको क्या करनी चाहिए? अनदर हाउस प्रॉपर्टी कंस्ट्रक्शन करने के चाहिए. सर कंस्ट्रक्शन करने के लिए टाइम 3 साल का दे रहे तो पैसे कहाँ पे लगाए? यू कैन इन्वेस्ट दैट अमाउंट इन कैपिटल गेन अकाउंट स्कीम. दैट अमाउंट आल्सो विल बी अलाउड एज exemption along with the purchase value, or till in this year you have invested some amount. कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए अभी तक 10 लाख खर्चा हो गया, बाकी 20 लाख आपने कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए कैपिटल गेन अकाउंट स्कीम में रखे. दैट अमाउंट ऑलरेडी एक्सपेंडिचर इंकर्ड 10 lakhs plus this 20 together 30 lakhs you can get exemption. And whatever amount deposited in capital gain account scheme should be used only for construction purpose of residential house property, not for any other purpose. Okay, this is what I am explaining each and everything in detail, though it is a revision video. Okay, next sir, amount of exemption, cost of new residential house or capital gain whichever is lower. मैंने बताया ना आपका कैपिटल गेन कितना है? 20 लाख का है. आपने फ्लैट के लिए 30 लाख लगाए तो 30 लाख मिलेगा क्या एग्जेम्पशन? नहीं. कैपिटल गेन कितना है? कैपिटल गेन है आपका 20 लाख. फ्लैट अमाउंट इन्वेस्टेड फॉर रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी कितना है? 30 लाख. दोनों में से कौन सा कम है? वही मिलेगा. सपोज यू हैव ओनली इन्वेस्टेड 15 lakhs. So 15 lakhs only will be allowed as exemption, not more than that. Till here you remember that is enough for 54 exemption under section 54. और एक बात बता देता हूँ, याद से याद रखना. अगर 3 साल के अंदर जो नया रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी आपने परचेज करे उसको सेल कर दिए, तो इन द ईयर इन विच यू हैव सोल्ड दैट न्यू रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी will also taxable, okay, as capital gain, but along with whatever exemption you have taken earlier, that also will be taxable in the year in which you have sold the house property within 3 years from the date of exemption taken. Okay, so जो नया हाउस प्रॉपर्टी है उसको 3 साल के अंदर आपको क्या करना है? सेल नहीं करना है. यू नीड टू हैव इट विथ यू. ओके, so this is about exemption under section 54. I'll tell fata okay, fatafat in 1 minute. Once exemption under section 54, simple. 54 is for ओके अरे यार क्या क्या आ रहा है. This 54 is for, I'll write here, 54 is for transfer of residential house property, purchase one, okay, residential house property in India. If it is purchased 1 year before or 2 years after the date of transfer, construction 3 years, you should not sell 3 years from the date of transfer. Sale residential house property, purchase also residential house property, that is 54. That's it. Okay, let us go for B. 54B. What is B? 54B is relating to 54B is relating to Banu. 54B is relating to B for what I said? भूमि. अच्छा भूमि बोले तो लैंड. कौन सा? नॉट लैंड, नॉर्मल लैंड. It is a land of urban agriculture land. So B for bhumi, bhumi for land, land for urban agriculture land. Asset transfer should be urban agriculture land. Land has been used for agriculture purpose, other conditions, by the assessee or his parents or by HUF for 2 years immediately preceding the transfer. आप सेल करने से पहले 2 साल से आपके पेरेंट्स या आपकी HUF है तो फैमिली क्या करनी चाहिए, इसको एग्रीकल्चर पर्पस में यूज करनी चाहिए. एंड इट इज नॉट रूरल एग्रीकल्चर लैंड. आई एम सेइंग transfer should be of urban agriculture land because rural agriculture land is not at all a capital asset. अगर capital asset ही नहीं है तो capital gain में आएगा क्या? नहीं आएगा. So please remember that point. And purchase of land being used for agriculture purpose. यहाँ पे purchase आप rural भी कर सकते या urban भी कर सकते. There is no restriction on purchase. But sale should be of urban agriculture land. Okay. Bhumi. Bhumi. B for Bhumi. If you don't remember Bhumi, remember BM. BM means वरी. कहाँ से आएगा? Agriculture. Okay. So urban agriculture land sold and purchased another agriculture land within 2 years. यहाँ पे परचेज ही दिया है, not before, only after the date of transfer. Within 2 years you need to purchase another agriculture land. अच्छा 2 साल दिए आपके लिए, क्या कर सकते हैं? अभी आपको एग्रीकल्चर लैंड नहीं मिल रहा तो आप जो अमाउंट कैपिटल गेन अकाउंट स्कीम में रखेंगे. ओके, कैपिटल गेन अकाउंट स्कीम बोल के एक अकाउंट रहता है बैंक में. सो उस अकाउंट में आप अमाउंट डिपॉजिट करके भी क्या कर सकते हैं? विद इन 2 years यू कैन बाई. दैट अमाउंट डिपॉजिटेड इज ऑल्सो एलिजिबल फॉर एग्जम्पशन. सो कैपिटल गेन अकाउंट स्कीम. ओके, in your textbook detailed information is there. This is for quick revision purpose only. So what will be the exemption? Exemption amount is cost of new agriculture land or capital gain, whichever is lower, or amount deposited in capital gain account scheme, whichever is lower. दोनों में से कौन सा कम है वही मिलेगा आपको. This is about exemption under section 54B. फर्स्ट वाला ज्यादा टाइम लेगा, बाकी के जल्दी खत्म हो जाएंगे क्योंकि once you remember one exemption, remembering the others are very easy. यहाँ पे क्या बोले? रेजिडेंशियल हाउस बोले, यहाँ पे क्या बोले? एग्रीकल्चर लैंड. वैसा यहाँ पे परचेज बिफोर 1 year or after 2 years. यहाँ पे only after 2 years. Can you construct the agriculture land? आप agriculture land को construct कर सकते हैं क्या? बिल्डिंग तो बना सकते हैं, घर तो बना सकते हैं, लैंड को नहीं बना सकते, इसलिए यहाँ पे कंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं दिए. डोंट आस्क मी सर व्हाई हियर नो कंस्ट्रक्शन इज देयर फॉर लैंड. हो हंसेंगे लोग. ओके. Exemption, I said, either amount deposited or invested for the purpose of exemption or capital gain, whichever is less will be allowed as exemption along with the amount deposited in the capital gain account scheme. And this new asset purchased also should be held for by the assessee at least for 2 years. At least for 2 years. Okay. Otherwise, in the year in which you have sold, in that year whatever exemption you have taken earlier will be taxed as gain. Okay, this is about 54B. Next वाला है 54D. D for what I said? D for danger. हाँ danger है ये थोड़ा. It is applicable to all assessees. Previous two were applicable to individual and HUF, but here it is for only any assessee. Any assessee means, do you remember the definition of person? Person includes individual, HUF, AOP, BOI, or any artificial judicial person, company, LLP, partnership firm, like that. So all assessees it will be applicable. Okay. And what is the thing here? Asset transfer should be land and building are forming part of an undertaking, industrial undertaking. Please remember the thing here is what they are saying. Land or building relating to industrial undertaking. आपका लैंड या बिल्डिंग होनी चाहिए, वो क्या होनी चाहिए? इंडस्ट्रियल अंडरटेकिंग के लिए. तो मतलब बिजनेस में यूज करने वाला लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग होनी चाहिए. लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग हैव बीन यूज्ड फॉर बिजनेस अंडरटेकिंग फॉर एटलीस्ट 2 years प्रीसीडिंग टू द डेट ऑफ ट्रांसफर. जैसा आपका एग्रीकल्चर लैंड यूज करे वैसे दिस बिल्डिंग आल्सो शुड बी यूज्ड बाय द assessee for industrial purpose. The transfer should be by way of compulsory acquisition. ये बात बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग वाली है. So in case of D for what I will tell generally, दौर्जन्यम. మీకు ఇష్టం లేదు आपको सेल करना, ट्रांसफर करना आपको अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, फिर भी आपको ट्रांसफर करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि इट इज अंडर compulsory acquisition, okay, by the government or local authorities or any other thing. आपका जो बिल्डिंग आ रहा ना वो रोड वाइंडिंग में चले जा रहा, ऐसा कुछ हो रहा. सो लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग, okay, land and building forming part of industrial undertaking have been transferred because of compulsory acquisition. Okay, and you should buy another land or building. Okay, or write in the land and building means आप लीज पे भी या किसी और तरीके से भी लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग ले सकते. इफ यू आर परचेज, ओके, आर कंस्ट्रक्ट विद इन 3 years after the date of transfer for the shifting or reconstructing existing undertaking or setting up a new industrial undertaking, then also no problem. So 3 साल आपको टाइम दे दिए, 3 साल के अंदर आपको परचेज या कंस्ट्रक्ट करनी चाहिए क्या? दूसरा लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग. ओके, नॉट एनी अदर थिंग. सो कास्ट ऑफ न्यू असेट और अमाउंट इन्वेस्टेड इन कैपिटल गेन अकाउंट स्कीम और कैपिटल गेन विच एवर इज लोअर विल बी अलाउड एज एग्जेम्पशन. एग्जेम्पशन अमाउंट ये आपको दिया जाएगा. लॉक इन पीरियड इनके लिए भी सेम 3 years. आप क्या करनी चाहिए? इसको दूसरों को सेल नहीं करना चाहिए. वॉट एवर न्यू असेट परचेज्ड, अदरवाइज वॉट एवर एग्जेम्पशन यू हैव टेकन हियर विल बी टैक्सेबल इन द ईयर इन विच यू विल सेल द asset. That is the thing. So 54 is related to residential house property, Okay, residential house property, this is urban agriculture land. Third one, compulsory acquisition of industry land and building of industrial undertaking under compulsory acquisition. Don't forget to this point. Okay, compulsory acquisition होनी चाहिए. This is about 54D. Okay, 54B and 54D may come for short term as well as long term. 54 is only related to long term capital asset, C here, and 54EC, 54EE, 54F are there. Let us see those things. Okay, we will continue in this video itself. I thought let us make another video. No, we will continue here itself in one go. Okay. So next one is 54EC. These are very easy things, but you need to remember few points relating to EC. EC, who should be eligible assessee? Any assessee, individual, HUF, AOP, BOI, partnership firm, LLP, company, any other artificial judicial person or local authority. And asset transfer should be long-term capital asset, being land and building are both. Please remember this one. So whatever asset you are transferring, it should be what? Long-term capital nature, and that should be land or building or both together. Acha. What we need to do? We need to invest in bonds of NHAI, RECL, or another redeemable 5 years central government notified redeemable bonds are there, like Power Finance Corporation Limited, and one more thing is there, Railways Finance Corporation Limited. Okay, these things are there in your textbook. NABARD bonds like this, some specific notified by central government, those notified bonds only eligible, not any other bonds. Okay, so EC is relating to what? EC is relating to transfer of land and building relating to long term nature, and you should invest money in National Highway Authority of India, or Rural Electrical Corporation Limited, or Power Finance Corporation Limited, or Railway Finance Corporation Limited, or any other specified bonds by the central government which are redeemable after 5 years. Purchase, ये जो आप इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे हैं कब तक करनी है? Within 6 months from the date of transfer of asset. आप जिस दिन asset transfer कर रहे हैं लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग, उसके बाद 6 months में आपको क्या करनी चाहिए? परचेज करनी चाहिए ये बॉन्ड्स को. अमाउंट कैपिटल गेन में यहाँ पे एक लिमिट दिया है. अमाउंट इन्वेस्टेड or capital gain or maximum permissible value is 50 lakhs. Okay, arising in any financial year, whether such investment is made in the current financial year or next financial year or both. Yet within 6 months period, you need to, from the date of transfer, you need to make 50 lakh rupees maximum, not more than 50 lakhs. You can get the exemption. Suppose your capital gain is 40 lakhs, you have purchased National Highway Authority of India bonds of 60 lakhs. Okay, how much you will get? Maximum permissible value, maximum value is 50 lakhs. How much you will get? Capital gain में ये तीनों में से कौन सा कम है वो लेना. Suppose your capital gain is your capital gain is your capital gain is 70 lakhs and you have purchased 60 lakhs worth bonds, but maximum permissible value is 50 lakhs. I said lower of these three. So which one is lower? 50. Don't worry, Baba. Your 60 lakhs will be there, but exemption will be given only for 50 lakhs, not more than that. Okay. आपका कैपिटल गेन से ज्यादा आपको एग्जेम्पशन नहीं मिलेगा. प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस पॉइंट. नेक्स्ट, सेम थिंग is there in EE also. Before this we have discussed EC. EC is relating to land and building. Here 54 EE is relating to any assessee, and that is a individual, HEF, AOP, BY, any other artificial judicial person, LLP, partnership firm, company, anything. Assessee can be anything. And any long term capital asset, यहाँ पे लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग बोले, यहाँ पे आप कुछ भी कैपिटल असेट सेल कर सकते. इवन यू कैन सेल दी gold or jewelry. Sir, gold is a capital asset? Yes, gold is a capital asset, being it is an exception to personal effects. जेड प्लस में आ जाएगा ये, याद रखो. बट यू शुड इन्वेस्ट. ओके, यूनिट इशूड बिफोर 1/4/2019 इन स्पेसिफाइड फंड नोटिफाइड बाय सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में ये जो नोटिफाइड करे उसमें ही परचेज करना है, विद इन 6 months करना है. लोअर ऑफ कैपिटल गेन और मैक्सिमम वैल्यू 50 lakhs और अमाउंट इन्वेस्टर सेम, रिमेनिंग थिंग इज सेम. यहाँ पे लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग था, लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग. यहाँ पे एनी कैपिटल असेट, यू कैन सेल एनी कैपिटल असेट being long term nature, not short term, but investment should be made in specified notified bonds by the central government. Okay, next वाला है 54F. this is really a big thing. Let us go little bit slow to understand 54F. F for what? Do you remember F? 54F. F for what is it? F for फार्मूला. यहाँ पे कैपिटल गेन में फर्स्ट टाइम एक फार्मूला दिए फॉर गेटिंग दी एग्जेम्पशन अमाउंट. Okay, I'll tell, don't worry. It is applicable to individual or HEF. You can sell any capital asset, okay, long term nature, other than residential house. Please remember, other than residential house property छोड़ के, because for residential house property you are already having what, 54. So residential house property को छोड़ के you should sell any other long term nature capital asset. Assessee should own more than one residential house on the date of transfer. Sorry, should not own. जिस दिन वो ट्रांसफर कर रहा है उसके पास क्या होनी चाहिए, एक से ज्यादा रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी नहीं होनी चाहिए. परचेज विद इन 2 years or construct within 3 years from the date of transfer, same relating to here for 54 whatever is there. One residential house property in India क्या परचेज करनी चाहिए? You should purchase one residential house property situated in India, that is before 1 year or after 2 years, okay, or construction within 3 years from the date of transfer. Okay, this is what they are saying. Same ditto है ना सर. लेकिन यहाँ पे सेल जो हो रहा वो रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी नहीं हो रहा, अदर देन रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी। यहाँ पे जो सेल हो रहा वो रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी, ये याद रखना है। मीन्स यू कैन सेल प्लांट एंड मिशनरी, or you can sell what not plant and machinery bus, because for plant and machinery it is comes under short term not long term. We will consider it as short term, because if it is used for personal purpose then it will comes plant and machinery comes under personal effects. If reachable asset, we always consider there is a short term capital gain and it is a short term capital asset, not long term. So gold or any other thing, archaeological collections, shares, bonds, etc. Okay, securities, whatever you are having other than residential house property. Okay, जैसा land, open land. Okay, yeah, land, because you are not residing it. Okay, but purchase should be another residential house property, that is flat, or we can say land for the plot for the residential purpose or for the construction purpose, whatever, but for residential. Sale should be anything other than residential, purchase should be residential, they are saying. This is the funda here. Okay, within before 1 year or 2 year after or within 3 years you should construct whatever amount deposited in the capital gain account scheme or amount invested here. Residential, please remember formula when to apply, when not to apply. If residential house property value is greater than net consideration, I'm saying net consideration, not capital gain. When you will get net consideration, full value of consideration minus transfer expenses, you will get net consideration. This net consideration is less than the residential house property. Suppose आपने जो परचेस करे वो 50 लाख का है, आपका नेट कंसिडरेशन 40 lakhs, then entire capital gain, I'm saying entire capital gain, entire long term capital gain will be allowed as exemption. सर फिर से बताऊं, आपने जो अमाउंट इन्वेस्ट करे फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी दैट इज मोर देन द net consideration, entire long term capital gain, whatever gain means after exemption, after cost of improvement, in indexed cost of acquisition, indexed cost of improvement, whatever long term capital gain is there, that will be allowed as exemption. Okay, suppose if your residential house property value, that is residential house property value is less than the net consideration, that is net consideration is 50 lakhs and residential house property you have purchased is 30 lakhs. So which one is more? Net consideration is more, and which one is less? Residential house property is less. Then we need to go for formula. What is the formula? Amount of exemption. Amount of exemption equals to long term capital gain into amount invested for the purchase of residential house property divided by capital gain. Net consideration, your capital gain into amount invested. सपोज आपका A50 lakhs में से इंडेक्स्ड कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन निकाल दिए, इंडेक्स्ड कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन निकाल दिए 20 लाख, तो कितना बचेगा लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन 30 lakhs. सो 30 lakhs इनटू अमाउंट इन्वेस्टेड कितना है रेजिडेंशियल हाउस प्रॉपर्टी 30 lakhs डिवाइडेड बाय नेट कंसिडरेशन कितना है 50 lakhs. So this is how it will be done. So 0 get cancels, 5 1s 5 6 30. So you will get maximum of 18 lakhs as exemption. Amount of exemption is equals to long term capital gain into amount invested divided by net consideration. When you will go for this formula, if amount invested is less than the net consideration, if it is more than the net consideration, entire capital gain, that is entire your 30 lakhs will be allowed. Suppose you have invested 80 lakhs instead of 30 lakhs, you have invested 80 lakhs. 80 lakhs is more than the 50 lakhs, नेट कंसिडरेशन से ज़्यादा है, तो आपका कैपिटल गेन कितना आ रहा था 30 lakhs, एग्जेम्पशन कितना रहेगा 30 lakhs, नॉट 80. So you will get taxable long term capital gain as nil. So here is that formula. See here, cost of new residential house is greater than or equal to net sale consideration. Original asset entire capital gain is exempt. Cost of new residential house is less than the net sale consideration. Proportionate capital gain is allowed as. This proportionate capital gain means nothing but the formula. Proportionate capital gain means amount of exemption equals to, in your textbook it is there, in we did the problem relating to it. So capital gain generally it will be long term capital gain. So long term capital gain before exemption into amount invested for residential house property divided by net consideration. This is the formula we need to consider. Hope you understood the thing. Any doubt, please don't comment on the video. You all are having my number. You can send the okay, if even you comment on the video, no problem, but better for quick revision, replay, if you want you directly text me, I'll explain. But before that, what I will tell, if you don't get any point, once go through your class notes and watch the video by going back wherever you are not understanding one more time, so that you can understand it in better way. So here I'll end the video relating to exemptions under section 54 to 54F relating to capital gain, and all the best, prepare well. And the sir whom I adore, from whom I learn updates relating to tax, he says सीखना बंद तो जीतना बंद, तो सीखते रहो जीतने के लिए. And don't forget to go through the description link. In the description link you will find the notes and other information, so please go through those and prepare well. Jai Hind. Take care.